Welcome to Inside the Firm, a podcast dedicated to small business owners and hosted by entrepreneurs Alex Gore and Lance Cayko. Each week, they take you on their journey of how to start, run, and grow a business by bringing you inside their architecture and real estate development firm. Get a behind-the-scenes tour of how these business leaders manage their clients and foster company culture while creating new and innovative projects. And now your hosts, Alex Gore and Lance Cayko.
Welcome to another episode of Inside the Firm. We're here with Lance, hurry up, Cayko. I am Al, get it done, Gore. We have a great show for you today. We're going to talk about what the state is actually doing to tackle affordability, the inflation report, what that means, the benefits of being a builder, and we're going to have a face-off, architecture program versus interior design. Before we get into it, though, go check out RevitRocketship.com, where you are in Revit, you're holding on to Revit, and you're basically a slowpoke in a go-kart doing things terribly. If you want to be on a rocket ship to responsibility and reward, go to RevitRocketship.com. Lance,
that was
coffee
one of his
cycle.
No, joking, dude.
Joking.
Jeez. We're going to leave that in. I was trying to compliment Al through my choking and say that was one of the best copies I've ever heard him read. This guy's a public speaker for life. This guy is a pro. Al Progore. Arcat.com is your one-stop shop for specifications, CAD details, BIM content, and so much more. Whether you're an architect, engineer, or contractor, Arcat has the tools you need to streamline your projects and stay ahead of the curve. Best of all, it's completely free to use. Start your next product search on Arcat. That's ARCAT.com. Al Gore, I'm going to pull up. Al's got an April inflation breakdown for us on the Yahoo News. Headline, April inflation breakdown, food, shelter, and medical care pinch consumers' wallets. Al.
And if you scroll down, you'll get to a graph where inflation is at with its 12 months. There it is. Look at this. So up at 6.4% is auto insurance. Household energy is up.
What? Why?
So household energy, probably because it's a monopoly.
But why?
Auto insurance? Why auto insurance?
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. We could speculate here. Housing is up at 4%. Restaurant and meals is up. Earnings, I don't know why they count earnings, is up, which is good. Personal care is up. So a lot of things are up. The things that are down, clothing, appliances, toys, hotel rooms, transportation, rental cars, electronics, airfare, and the biggest loser, which is great, is gasoline at negative 11.8%. So that's good. Inflation came down. That's another indicator for hopefully the Fed. Too late, Jerome Powell, to lower interest rates a little too late, and go from there.
Yeah. But what is down? Gasoline, which is good because that's going to drive everything else.
That is going to drive everything else.
So I'm optimistic. I'm still optimistic about the whole situation. What do we got next?
Yeah.
So that was a quick April inflation report. Obviously, since we've last recorded, the Fed did not lower rates. Hopefully they will in June. Maybe they won't. I don't know. The thing about it is like there's been a 90-day pause on these tariffs, which are helping people out. And people are moving. It's just people. It's like steady. Should I complain?
It's steady. It's fine.
Like, should we complain?
No. Man, I just, it would be really, it would be really, really positive for the economy and for jobs if the Fed lowered its rate a couple times. The only thing is that going to increase inflation? I don't know. I don't think it will that much.
Yeah.
I don't think it would that much. So anyways, we're not the experts.
Yeah.
You know, what do we know? Right?
Yeah.
We haven't been there. So
Stocks are up. Frankly.
okay. Second.
Bitcoin is up.
Yeah. Yep. Colorado is doing two cool new things, and I know that this first one doesn't just apply to Colorado.
Go Democrats, go!
Yeah, there you go. You heard it here first. Clip that. Throw that everywhere.
Clip that.
I know Minnesota's looking into this first one, and so it's a new era of single stair apartment buildings is coming to Denver, and other Colorado cities. So Jake, who's going to be my guest in a couple weeks on the podcast. I think I'm going to interview him next week, but basically when it comes out will be who knows, a couple weeks, months pass, and he was talking about this before I even knew.
Jake is the
NDSU guy.
Architect.
Architect.
Okay, he's an architect.
Yep, who did his own development.
Oh, a developer too.
Yep, I know I've told you about this, but
I think I've even met them. Just seeking to clarify. That's all.
Yep, and on LinkedIn,
as long as is it Jake from State Farm? We don't want that.
No, it's not Jake from State Farm. Jake from NDSU.
Okay.
He was doing townhomes, row homes, but he had to do 2 stairs, and that increased his thing. So
Shut the front door. 2 stairs?
Well, yeah, because he was doing multifamily. Actually, he was doing multifamily. So people who want to do multifamily, because that's the only way it would work.
Like multifamily in the sense they're for rent.
For sale multifamily. He was wanting to do that. Now he's keeping it 1 stair, and it's now it's Jake and Jake, their investment property.
Yeah.
And what they're doing is they're renting out rooms. So now it's lesser units to stick under that 2 stair rule. And we don't do multifamily in that sense that much, but apparently this is like a big deal. Mm-hmm. And why intuitively I feel like this is a big deal is, a lot of people think and that come and protest against or that want more density. Why can't we do things like Europe, right? Why can't we do it?
Oh, we just have to be like Europe.
Yep. Well, a lot of those old townhome structures, and I've seen them in Minneapolis and New York, they're 1 stair structures. Yeah. You've been into it. There's you walk in, absolutely. You go to the left. They're in movies. Like every movie that there's a door to the left or right. There's a stairwell in the center. There's doors off of it. Those we haven't made those in like 50 years.
Yeah.
We haven't made those in 50 years, and this is what this is allowing for. And it's a single stairway exit in an apartment building up to 5 stories.
Yeah. So this is House Bill 2370.
Yep.
And cities with more than 100,000 residents must revise their building. Longmont, looking at you. Cities with more than 100,000 residents must revise their building codes by December 1st, 2021. I think Boulder's underneath the
2027.
2027, sorry. I think Boulder is beneath the 100,000 threshold now because there's because people can't afford to live there, so they come to our city and the other cities in Boulder County. That's hilarious. From the article, while Alex is looking it up, in an effort to encourage denser development, Governor Jared Polis signed into bill into law Tuesday. Oh, he signed it. I thought it was maybe just up to allow smaller apartment buildings in Colorado to be built with a single staircase instead of the 2 previously required by building codes. What's the data there? Are they less than 100,000? I saw you light up.
105.
You're in trouble, Boulder.
Yep.
You're in trouble. Then it goes on to say, there you go. The article answers my questions, but I'm glad I was looking it up. The law applies to Denver, Colorado Springs, Aurora, Fort Collins, Lakewood, Thornton, Arvada, Westminster, Greeley, Pueblo, Boulder, and Centennial. Come on, you guys. Isn't Longmont more?
No. 98.
Aha!
But, okay.
I don't like that, though.
I don't like that either.
I need 2,000 people to move from
Boulder.
I wanted you to say it, so I didn't have to say it on record.
Fort Collins is 170.
170 up there?
Yeah, we can have FOCO people move down.
That's fine. FOCO, you move down.
The problem with Longmont is that we won't go into it.
Okay.
Why this is a big deal, though? It's not just the stairs. I think some people might think, what's an extra stair cost? It's that you have to have access to both of those stairs, and then you have to have hallways that connect both of those stairs because you need them to have 2 exits, right? Mm-hmm. So it's that whole apparatus, and then that messes up the design. Can you can picture the structure that I'm talking about?
Yep.
Right.
100%.
Yeah.
Unkill
it. We're unkilling that type of architecture.
Good. We're resurrecting it.
There you go.
Backers, from the article, backers work closely this year with fire protection specialists to address safety concerns, according to Bo Snecker. What a name. Under the new law, buildings with a single staircase must also have automatic fire sprinklers throughout.
Of course.
Be built to fire-resistant materials and ensure a short travel distance as well as other building cost safety measures. Design can accomplish so much, including non-combustible materials. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We are people who do all this kind of work, so we'll see if developers jump on it. I know we were definitely right about the ADU wave because I just sent out a proposal for another one this weekend, this morning, and we've been doing a lot of ADUs lately. So that's it. That's good. I like that. Ooh, tap fees. I don't
Second.
like this.
Why?
Well, I don't know. I just think of tap fees, and I think.
Oh, you don't like tap?
Al, he needs to unblack pill me. How about that? He's going to resurrect my white pill.
Not going to do it.
Not gonna do it.
Next article, Colorado governor signs law to rein in tap fees in hopes of lowering housing costs. I'm happy for you to go through this because I actually like that you picking up and reading stuff, but I'm going to basically spill the beans.
Yeah, go for it.
It seems to me that it says water districts must look hard at lowering their tap fees. Like they'll be like,
what this bill says?
Yeah, we looked hard and we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to keep our tap fees super high.
Yeah.
So basically, for people who are in other states, a water tap fee to connect to water might be anywhere from $300 to $3,000. When you do tap fees and you get the raw water in Colorado too, it's like $15,000 to $120,000. So
Districts to make a profit. The bipartisan law focuses on special districts. This is one of the bills that come from my community. Trickle down savings. Wow, look at them using that. What do you think it does?
So
I don't
most
understand.
tap fees are charged on flat rates based on their meter size.
Yeah.
Meaning like 3/4 inch, whatever. Starting in August, a new law requires water districts to consider offering discounts for water conservation measures like expected long-term water usage and for
What a
the
weak
water efficient appliances
What a
and
weak
gray
law.
water system.
I
Or districts could tie their tap fees
What a-
based on square footage or the number of bedrooms. So
it's like a tap dance around this. It's like tapping around.
yeah.
What I'm being punny here. They're tapping around the taps.
Look at that. Look at
Anyway.
you.
All right.
Say
Well,
we're
that
not
was worth.
entertaining.
Yeah. Cool.
They're trying though, kind of, with the first one, for sure.
The single? Yes, that one's real. The single stairwell. Although then they just couldn't help themselves, and then the fire, which is fair to an extent, But like, the thing about these multifamily buildings is, even them, like, think about the amount of occupants you have. Let's say it's and they're even trying to target smaller buildings. So like, okay, we just finished a conversion in Longmont, 3-story building. Was formerly all commercial, converted the top 2 floors to residential. It was actually very, very difficult because we were having to cut through and get some red tape removed because because the scope was technically new construction. Anyway, that we had to do that. So the occupants, though, like in that building, how many occupants are we looking at? Maybe 12 on the upper floors, right? And we're having a sprinkler and rate it, and it's like, I don't know.
Well, okay, let's go to that
Does
nuance
that make
really
sense?
quick.
There's not going to be these giant pinch points of like a herd of 100 people coming out of them. Public
Right.
buildings, I get it.
Right. Okay. Man. In New York and stuff like that, they had those exit on the front. You know what I mean? The metal exit stairs on the front.
Yeah.
But here's why you understood, but there's still a pitch point. Like, okay, we can do probably sprinklers. All those buildings were made of stone and non-combustible, basically, besides maybe the floor. So you'd need to address that. The big issue, though, is that with energy requirements, we need all the insulation. So then are we just going with light gauge steel? If we can go with light gauge steel, that's fine. And then does that count? And then drywall's non-combustible. But then your floors going to have to be steel? Yeah, don't know about that.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Al's been building.
Al building Gore.
Al building Gore.
Yep.
Heck yeah. He's getting it done.
What I like about building and how I would suggest to any architect that asks me about it randomly on the street.
When Al's walking down the street, I look at
Hey.
him and I go, that's an architect.
What do they say? Isn't that Al the architect?
Is it?
Isn't
that Johnny Bravo, the architect? Remember that?
Yep. Hey, that's
Johnny Bravo.
That's Al. I want someone to yell from their car. Hey, that's Al, the architect.
Yeah. I'm gonna do it. If you see him, please do it.
Yep. Be the master builder in the traditional sense. So take the project with the client that you have. You are now the builder. And then whoever's on your project team is now assisting you. And what I like about it is because there's more fees on the building side, right? You can, even if you're getting high architecture fees, you can still double your fees, right? You get to get out of the office, learn more, which means more you have more responsibility, which means you have more reward. And then you get to make like the decisions that you make out in the field aren't a big deal. Because once you get out there, I'm sure you've been out in the field like, oh, we're going to run this way. We're going to change this way. I'm sure it's happened all the time. Oh, we're going to do a different type of
every
ceiling.
project. I am just so fascinated by that part, right? Where you're like, even on new builds, as soon as you dig, you're like, well, change of plans.
Yeah. Yep.
It just never ends.
Yep. But it's just way less stressful. I think if you are leading in it, you know where the drawings are, things like that.
And you have a team of architects behind you who are willing to, and maybe an interior designer too, that's been super critical for us, trying to further white collar F14. It's been super helpful. And our staff, we presented this to them maybe like 2 weeks ago. Like, hey, Al and I are feeling very confident about the economy, but we're feeling really confident. And everybody's jobs are secured for like another 12 months, which to say that in this economy is not, I guarantee other principals aren't doing it. But we can do that because I told them, if you guys are willing to step up in more construction administration and construction management roles and help out in the field, we can have one company build the other. And they just leaned completely into it. Because maybe some of their friends, they're hearing horror stories and stuff like that. I don't know. So I'm with you.
And do you agree getting out of the office, all that?
Dude, I've been having so much fun. Honestly, yesterday I had a blast because I came in, did some F9 stuff, then I went to job site 1, and then literally was a perfect blend of like architect and contractor because I took the LiDAR scanner and I had to scan what we're doing underground at this restaurant we're building because we have to provide as-built drawings. Like, what a better, that owner couldn't have picked a better entity, right? Like think about the value I'm explaining to you, Nate. When you're doing this, right? You're like, oh man, I could laser scan throughout the building process even, which is a risk and an award, but either way. And then I went to job site. Then on my way to job site 2, I stopped at one of our door suppliers for these custom doors. Asked them some questions, solved some problems.
Nice.
Then I went to the other job site. The plumbers were there. Wrote a bunch of notes down. Had an action list of items to go from there. Then I went from that job site to my next one. Got some lunch on the way. Solved some problems there. Came back to the office. Like, it was so seamless. And if you like driving, like I do, like Al does too, then like you can listen to music, you can books on tape, you can literally do business at the same time. I do it, and I know Al does too. Is like I'll just be driving, and then I'll be like, oh, I should give them a call. I should give them a call. And I'm like networking and actually working through things in that kind of way, using a lot of voice to text.
I got one for you.
Yeah,
I got one. I've been doing it with my clients.
Like, don't you want to make money, architects? Quit whining.
So let's say you have to. Yeah, this is actually for my clients. I don't think I've done it with a sub yet, right? I do voice memos to my clients. So before did a project, it was a
interesting.
Yep, it was a burial. It was a basement
too, like email and stuff.
Nope. So I would do, hey, this week we're planning to do this. End of the week, I would give an update. It was just in an email. That was great. So me and my friends, we've been doing voice memos, and I send it to his text.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I go, do you mind this or not? Because basically what I'll do is I'll say, to some extent of this, I just went to the job site. I met with the electricians. We're deciding if we're going to run 200-watt lines or, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Met with the excavators today. They're going to be back on Tuesday, and the plumbers will be here on Monday.
Yeah.
And what's great about that is that it's not a phone call. He doesn't have to answer right then. He can listen to it at any time. Mm-hmm. On the text, there's the you've done it to me. I've done it to you where you send it and it disappears. He goes, oh, it disappeared. So I just went to voice memos.
Oh,
and then did voice memos. And then I
recorded it.
just send him a voice memo and it doesn't
Who
disappear.
did you say this to? A client?
I do it to the client. Probably every 2 days.
But
I
you
send him
asked him.
So I said, hey, is it, I sent him that update and be like, is it okay that I update you this way? He's like, I love it.
Cool.
And then that was a couple.
You've introduced a fourth way,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Just email, text, phone call, boom, voice memos.
Voice memo.
Amazing.
Because then, I love it. I think I've done it to maybe one of the good subs like GNC. Like, hey, I'm out here. I see what you guys did. This
Dude,
is all great.
I write down so many notes just talking to my phone.
Yep.
I talk to my phone so much.
Yep.
It's ridiculous. I talk to ChatGPT. I'm now subscribed to Grok too, and frankly, I'm more convinced that Grok is better. Anyway, but like I just like constantly, and really the real interesting thing about using voice to text, if you do it as much as me and Al do, which is every day it seems like, even probably on the weekends, is I'm very careful about my words so that it sounds coherent, right? If I'm voice to text specifically, right? And then like this show helped reinforce that, but I think it changes you as a professional in a good way if you're conscious about it.
Yep. I have one more way that you can work on the car. Not this one. This wasn't even previewed.
Get a
in the show.
Cybertruck?
Nope.
Autopilot? No.
Autopilot. I did this on a run once, and it was actually pretty cool. I was trying to figure out some electronic stuff. I opened up Grok or Chat, I can't remember, and you can just talk to it, and I go, explain to me how this works. And it just explained. And I go, okay, stop. Dive into that more. So let's say you're like, I'm making up a scenario, like, how does a plumber connect to the H valve, whatever, and have it talk to you, so you aren't reading it. You'd be like, "Wow, an H valve is actually the high," like.
Oh yeah, sure, 100%.
Whatever it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's something like, "Hey, you could literally say this. I'm going back to the office and I'm trying to figure out what occupancy this building should be," and then you describe it. And then I bet you will say, well, based on that, it could probably be one of these two things. It'd be like, and then you come back to the office and you're like, hey, it's either going to be A3 or A2, guys.
If you are cheap, stop. Because here's one thing I think that is not acceptable for any architect who is a entrepreneur or going to be one day, start their own business, do their own thing, contractor, whoever's listening that they're going to potentially be business owners. Like, I wouldn't cheap out on paying for the paid version of either Grok or ChatGPT.
Yeah.
It's such a it's literally a personal assistant. Like, it is so integrated into my life personally, even too. Like, I use Grok to track my workouts now, and it's like help me perform. I'll update it, right? So like tonight, my routines are, just so everybody knows, it's like I'm doing pull-ups and push-ups with weighted vests, and it's tracking my progress, and then it's. And then
why? Because you're putting in, you're like, oh, I did 5 reps,
Yep.
then I waited a minute,
Yep.
and I did 5 reps.
Exactly. And then I tell it my age, I tell it my testosterone level because I've tested, I tell it my height and weight and all. And it might sound creepy and anything like that, but like it just it's totally tuned into you in such an awesome way. Like, I'm not gonna have my wife or Al or whatever keep track of that, and like I don't want to put it in a data sheet.
Yeah.
I want like a dialogue.
Yeah. So, like, will you ask it things later, or will you just be like, oh, it's all stored in there, and now it knows?
Oh, well, like, you got to, I mean, what it does is it goes updating memory, right? Because I'll say, okay, today's workout was,
Yep.
and then I'll give it how many reps, how many sets, and all that, and then it'll go updating memory, and then it'll go, this is excellent progress. For a 42-year-old man, you're moving in the right direction and all this other stuff. And then I'll be like, hey, do you have any tips? Like, what else could I do to increase my T? What else? Like, do you think? Is it okay if I skip skip a day and do 2 days in between? It'll start like citing research. I don't know.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Lean into it, but don't be cheap.
Yep. And honestly, what I found, I still use both, but a couple of ChatGPT answers were literally just dumb. Oh, I was asking it how to wire something up, and it was Grok was like, oh, do you want to know the computer code? I wasn't at that point yet. I was like, yeah, list that out. He's like, here you go. And then ChatGPT was like, you just connect things. I'm like, yeah, good for you. Thank you. I'll go back to the rock.
Yeah, it's not as good.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you say we were gonna? We don't even have a title yet. Maybe it is interior design programs versus architecture is the title.
Or how to work in the car? How to work when you can't work?
How to work while driving?
Yeah. People
There
be
you go,
like,
Bill. We named it.
you listen to Inside the.
How to work while driving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're in a car right now, honk. Get a little toot toot. Just no one's gonna know. Just a little.
Boop,
Boop, boop.
Yeah. But earlier, so one of the last things, Al, we were talking about this yesterday, me and Al, because we have an interior design intern coming in to help out with Sarah as we continue to hopefully carve out an interior design department in the office. We feel like this is the best path forward for us for a bunch of different ways. But what we're noticing is a giant difference between the faculty, the kinds of students and early professionals that are getting produced out of the interior design departments and versus architecture departments. And to me, it's pretty stark, the differences. The interior designers just seem like they're ready to go professionals is the quickest way I'd put this.
Yeah. And what you said was essentially the head of the interior design department gave us a very nice email and telling us some information about an intern that's coming. And you said, you noticed the same thing from CSU versus CU. And from my business group, Allison, shout out to her, we were talking about customer service in a different way. And we were talking about it with engineers and architects and even like planners. And we were all complaining. All of us guys were complaining. And she goes, oh, it's just based on who's more client facing. And we're all like, oh, that makes so much sense. That makes so much sense. The more that you're client facing, the more you'll have better customer service. And interior designers, I think, understand that they are extremely customer facing. And I think it's inbred in them. And to give you like the stark example from another industry, one of my buddies is a sales rep for a software company. And, over the years, I got what he did. And basically what he does is he puts computer engineers on a company that he doesn't work with together in a meeting room with other engineers so that their engineers can do what their engineers want to do. And he'll even like fly to Mississippi and sit down in a conference room and they'll be like, oh, we need to do this. He obviously doesn't know what they're talking about. And I didn't say to them, he's a great guy. It makes more sense now. I was like, you're almost not needed because it's just, the engineers are just talking to the engineers. The problem is engineers are not customer facing. There's no way that they're going to go find those connections. They're not going to schedule that meeting.
Yeah.
Like everyone's seen Silicon Valley where one of the main engineer, like they're just a grumpy person.
I've never seen it.
Okay. Everyone else has. But they just want to work on their machines.
Why haven't I seen it? I know.
You get the clientele.
No, they're very, look, I get that way too. Just beelined. They're just focused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
They
don't
just
want
want
to
to do their job. They literally just want to compute.
Yep. So like sales reps being consumer focused, going from like a manager to a VP to get the head boss to say yes. And then to say like, okay, we need your engineers here. We're going to bring our engineers here. Like that's a whole job, all customer facing. There's no way an engineer is going to do any of that stuff. No way they're going to organize.
Yeah.
Any
But
of
what
that
about
stuff.
architects then? What's the stark difference between the architects? Because like, I like that you're you're going with a very, come on, let's be honest. Like the contrast between an interior designer and an engineer is way bigger than a contrast between an architect and an engineer. I mean, an architect and interior designer.
So here's what I think. All interior designers, every single one of them is customer facing. You know what I mean? Like every single interior designer will be there, will be presenting,
Right.
will
So
be
it's
making a
so it's
meeting
less
board.
of a contrast, but the contrast is still there.
And then, yep, architects, you're a project architect, you're a drafter, you're the head, you know what I mean? Like it's a whole variety.
And everything seems more tangible with these interior designers because like when I sponsored this event probably 2 months ago or something like that up at NDSU, and we had interior designers there. We had interior design department, and then we had the architecture department. We had some engineering students. And the interior designers are literally tactile. Like they're working with actual real materials in real time, whereas it's just still a pretty abstract for architects. And even for a long time in practice, like you might go a couple years without getting any built projects and seeing things happen.
Yeah. And what we've noticed too is interior designers, it makes a lot of sense. You are putting things on things that already exist. So you know what those things are. Tile, I don't mean to simplify it, but like I will agree that it's very tactile. The big thing about architecture, and we were talking about this too in the business group, was like everything behind the wall and how all it's all hidden, and they don't know. They don't know how it goes together. And then everything that's hidden too also has 4 things in it: insulation, electrical, mechanical, plumbing, and water. Well, sewer, you get what I'm saying. There's a bunch, and the structure. It's all in there, and there's a whole bunch of conflicts, and it's difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. Something to consider. The other thing too is like, I wonder about, here's the last thought I have on it is for people who are considering upping their staff at some point in the future, is I wouldn't overlook the interior designers to even fill architectural roles in a way, right? I'm not sure the architects though can fill the interior design roles in the other way around, right? So because we've seen it, like Sarah does architecture stuff for us. One of her first projects was a whole new house from the beginning, right? It was she learned a lot. She's just wrapping up like an addition on a different one. She's done a lot of actual architecture work, and at the same time, and then obviously like selecting materials and doing full on interior design services. But there's none of us at architecturally really know what we're doing or actually have the desire beyond her at F9 to do interior design. I know me and Al have said it over and over again, like, I don't care about the tile. Like, I care about it, but I don't. I just need somebody else. Like, we appreciate it when it's done really well. Of course. Then we can't quit talking about it, but it's like, yeah, but I'm just not enthusiastic about picking out tile. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, if you like this episode, you know what to do. Leave us a positive comment on the YouTube, like, subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
Bam.